Good morning. Welcome to subramani.com. You've seen the title, right? This is a little complicated, so it's going to be a little technical and a longish discussion saying how much can you lose in equity. Well, depends on how you start investing in equity. If you start investing in equity without a plan or anything, well, you could lose your shirt, pant, undergarments, everything. In a bad market, you could panic, and the mistake of having entered the market during a high, you compensate it by exiting on a low, right? So if you do these kind of things, yes, you could lose everything in the equity market. Now let us say you're a well qualified sensible boy or a girl, and you're married to a sensible boy or a girl. The question is, how much money can you lose in equities, right? That's what. And let's say you don't want to be an active participant, or you could be an active participant. That doesn't really matter. You put some money in mutual funds, you put some money in direct equity. Now let us say you have decided that taking after your father-in-law or your brother-in-law, somebody who was there in the markets and who's created wealth, you say, okay, let me also start. And maybe you're a little late start, you're 30, 32 years of age, and you say, okay, I am earning about 25 lakhs. My wife is earning about 8, 10 lakhs. So it is going to be a joint venture between me and my wife, and we are going to invest all that she earns into equity markets. So which means clearly that your wife's money is more available, because your money is being used for meeting all your goals, etc., and your wife is not the primary provider. So you decide that I will put 8 lakhs in equity. Now then you have to make some rules for yourself. If you don't make rules, you can lose everything. So you say, I will not put more than 100% of my wife's income, which means she's the secondary income, into equity. I will not have to touch my money ever to come into equity. So all that my wife earns, between the two of you, you have taken a decision that this would go into equity. Your second rule is, well, I will not put more than 5% in one company at any point in time, and if it increases beyond a particular stage, I may review it, but at a point in time I will not put. So when you've got 8 lakhs to invest, of course it's a very small corpus to start with, you may put for yourself a cap that, okay, right now I will do a little higher, but as and when my size of the corpus increases, I will bring down the limit to 5%. But even now you can say, okay, I will not put more than 40,000 or 50,000, and I will have about 20 companies. That's 5%. But if you're not able to find that much, you may make, so you have to have a rule which says, I will put 5% and I will not put more than 10%. So you will be between 40,000 to 80,000 in everything that you're investing. Going forward, these ratios will keep changing, but you start with this rule that I will invest in 20 companies to start with, because I'm going to pump in a lot more money from my existing portfolio also. All the wealth created in my wife's name, all the mutual funds, etc., are getting converted to direct equity. So now we have made one rule that that 100% of what my wife has earned, which means what your wife has earned from her age of 23 till the age of 35, you enumerate and say, okay, this is the maximum exposure, and I'm going to start putting in about, say, 50,000-60,000 a month, which is what she brings home on an 8 lakh salary. Let us say you are able to put 20,000 to the portfolio every month. Every month you will look at the same portfolio and say, okay, I'll buy more of this, right? You have a portfolio of 20 shares which you've already made because you wanted the 5% thing. You also want an industry diversification. I will have an industry diversification and look at the industry portfolios. Like if, for example, if you have a pharma fund, you know which are the companies in which the pharma fund is investing, right? So, and I'll say, okay, in one industry, I will not have a variation which is very high from the index. So if the index is 20% in pharma, you will be about anywhere between 17 to 25. You will not exceed that, because you have no particular reason to know why you should be exceeding that. So And your, remember, your mutual fund portfolio with your money is anyway doing all that which has to be done. Here you will not do those kind of anything like that. And if you want to take a concentrated risk, you will sit and wonder why you're taking the concentrated risk. Write it down and then take the concentrated risk, and keep reviewing it every month or every 6 months and decide what to do. Because this is a portfolio which I am building for myself over a long period of time, and this is not a trading portfolio, I will still have a 25% trailing stop loss. Trailing stop loss means as and when the price goes up, you will revise your stop loss. So you bought a share at 100 rupees and you had a 25% trailing stop loss, so your stop loss was 75. The company did really well, and in about 3 years time it has reached the price of 200. What would be your stop loss now? It will be 150, because it's again 25%, right? So that is how you will keep a trailing stop loss. So the minute it reaches say 1000, your stop loss will be 750. It cannot still be 75 with which you originally started. The trailing stop loss stops you from bleeding excessively when one share which you bought at 75 rupees goes down to 9. And this has happened, right? The GMR Infra went from 71, 72, I remember, to about 9. So you don't want such kind of losses to ever happen. You and your wife and your broker or advisor will sit and do the portfolio review on a weekly basis. Maybe it can happen telephonically, but you will look at the portfolio and you will know why something is there and why something has to be removed. If it has to be removed, when and why it has to be removed, right? You will ultimately, it is about looking at every quarterly result and deciding, oh, this is a good share, let me hold on to it. So this is a myth. First of all, you have to remember there is nothing called long-term investment. You took an investment and every quarter or every half year you looked at it and said, yeah, it's worth continuing, and therefore it became a long-term investment. Yes, initially you knew you were going to keep it for a long time, but that had to come, the approval had to come from the market on a quarterly basis saying, yes, this is worth keeping. Now look at how much money can you lose. Let's say 8 lakhs is what you started with. 40,000 is the maximum exposure you have in one stock. 25% is the stop loss. So you can lose about 10,000 rupees is what you will lose. Now on your liquid net worth of 10 lakhs, this is a very small amount. So if what you can lose is about 1% of your net worth, it's not something to worry about, because your stop loss would have been triggered and you would have. So understand that when you follow equity through a process, and which is what everybody after a particular stage does, till your first 5, 6 crores, 10 crores, maybe you don't do it so diligently, then at least you introduce. Now the problem is, if you have decided to introduce at a later stage, you have to know at what stage. You cannot say when I have more money. That's wrong, because 1 crore is a big amount of money for some people, and 1 crore is a lifetime achievement for some people, and for somebody it could be the one transaction size. So you decide at what stage you want to bring in all this discipline and all that, and otherwise you're not investing, you're having fun. So if you're investing is good fun and a lot of action and all that, then you're having fun, your broker is making the money. If you want to change it to you making the money and somebody else having the fun, you need to put discipline and process into place, or at least have an advisor who will do all that for you. That one of you at least have to do it. Thank you.